عثار وقيتا وكم من مكروه دفعتا وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرتا اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرط به سوء حالي وقصرت بي آمالي وقعدت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفعي بعد أملي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومقالي يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري رحمني رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا إلهي وربي من لي غيره جريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما أهوى وأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدوده وخالفت بعد آخره فلك الحجة علي في جميع ذاتك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاء وألزمني حكمك وبلاء وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري منكسرا مستقيما مستغفرا ونيبا مقرا مفعلا معترفا لا أجد ولا مفزعا نتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في ساعة من رحمتك اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شهدي وثاقي يا رب ارحم ضعف يا من بدا خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتربيتي هب لي لابتداء كربك وسالف برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعدما انطوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقد ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيته. أنت أكرم من أن تطيع من ربيت أو تبعد من أدنيت أو تشرد من آغيت أو تسلم إلى البنار من كفيت ورحمنا. وليت شعني وسيدي وإلهي ومولاي يا كريم يا رب. وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكتوب يسير بقاء قصير. Your weak servant, how would you treat me? Ya Ilahi wa Rabbi wa Sayyidi wa Mawlai, لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها ضج وأبكي، لأليم عذابي وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته، فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك يا الله. All of the punishments of the hellfire is easy for me, but the worst part of the hellfire is the distance from you, the distance from your Hussein. وهب لي صبرت على حر نارك، فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامته؟ أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي يفوق؟ فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا، لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج العاملين، ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين. أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفته، وذاق طعم عذابها وعصيته، وحبس بين أطباقها بحلف جرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمل لرحمتك، ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك، ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي، فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك؟ أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك؟ أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه؟ أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفها؟ أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقها؟ أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رفا؟ أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتترك فيها؟ هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك. Ya Allah, it is unlikely to do so. It is unlikely for you to keep me in hell while I have hope in your mercy. ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك. فباليقين أقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحدين وقضيت به من إخلاد معاندين لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما، وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما، لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملأها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها الوالدين، وأنت جنة نار. قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما. أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي، فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت علي أجريتها، وغلبت من علي جريتها، أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل قبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته، كتبته أو أعلنته، أخفيته أو أظهرته، وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جارحي، وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيت وبفضلك سترت، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير أنزلت أو إحسان فضلت أو بر نشرت أو رزق بسطت أو ذنب تغفره أو خطأ تستره. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي، يا من بيدي ناصيتي، يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك قدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي في الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة وخدمتك موصولة وأعمالي عندك مقبولة، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها بردا واحدا، وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه وهو لي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، قوي على خدمتك جوارحي واشدد على العزيمة جوارحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والتمام في الاتصال بخدمته حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في المهاجرين وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين وأخافك مخافة الموقنين وأجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فارد ومن كادني فكد واجعل لي من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك وأقربهم منزلة منك وأخصهم زلفة لديك فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك وجد لي بجودك واعطف علي بمجدك واحفظني برحمتك واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك متيما ومن علي بحسن إجابتك وأقلني عفوتي واغفر زلتي فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وضمنت لهم الإجابة فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني مناي ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه داء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غنى ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البكاء يا سابغ النعم يا دافع النعم يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل به ما أنت وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
नारे तकबीर
अल्लाहु अकबर.
नारे तकबीर
अल्लाहु अकबर.
नारे रिसालत
या रसूल अल्लाह.
नारे रिसालत
या रसूल अल्लाह.
नारे हैदरी
या अली.
नारे हैदरी
या अली.
आवाज बुलंद सलावत.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
मजलूम के हाथों شبیر کے مقتل سے گزرتا ہے جو اکثر، شبیر کے مقتل سے گزرتا ہے جو اکثر، وہ اب نہیں ثانی زہرا کی ردا ہے، وہ اب نہیں ثانی زہرا کی ردا ہے، یہ کون مسافر تھا جو مدفن کو بھی ترسا، یہ کون مسافر تھا جو مدفن کو بھی ترسا، یہ کس کا جنازہ تھا جو تیروں پہ رکھا ہے، یہ کس کا جنازہ تھا جو تیروں پہ رکھا ہے، زینب کی صدا سن کے یہ جبریل نے پوچھا، زینب کی صدا سن کے یہ جبریل نے پوچھا، یہ ہے در کرار کہاں بول رہا ہے، یہ ہے در کرار کہاں بول رہا ہے، اے روح پیمبر تیری امت ہے پریشان، اے روح پیمبر تیری امت ہے پریشان، شاید تیری بیٹی تیری امت سے خفا ہے، شاید تیری بیٹی تیری امت سے خفا ہے، ماتم کی صدا تیز کرو سوچتے کیا ہو، ماتم کی صدا تیز کرو سوچتے کیا ہو، شبیر ابھی نرگئے آدام گرا ہے، شبیر ابھی نرگئے آدام گرا ہے، میں موت سے خائف ہوں نہ محشر سے ہراسا، میں موت سے خائف ہوں نہ محشر سے ہراسا، محسن میری بخشش کی سند خاک شفا ہے، محسن میری بخشش کی سند خاک شفا ہے، مظلوم کے ہاتھوں پہ جو دم توڑ رہا ہے، ہم سن ہے مگر قائد ارباب وفا ہے، آواز بلند
Dear brothers and sisters, I'm going to request you right now, please stand up, help yourself with some water, some tea, we have some chai, we have some biscuits, please relax, and we have just one more masya, from our brother Farouk. And after that, we will begin the Majlis lecture by our keynote speaker. Please, if you could just help yourself right now, that would be great. Thank you very much. Par Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, Bulanda Salawat.
Bar Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad Salawat. ذکرے غمے حسین سے محفل سجی رہی گل ہو گیا چراغ مگر روشنی غم حسین سے اشک غم حسین کا ٹوٹا نہ سلسلہ اشک غم حسین کا ٹوٹا رومال فاطمہ میں ہمیشہ نمی رہی ذکر غم حسین سے محفل سجی گل ہو گیا چراغ مگر روشنی رہی بر محمد و آل محمد صلی اللہ محمد و آل محمد جب زینب غریب کے رن میں پسر تنہا لڑے آہو سب اہل شر لڑے اس خوبصورتی سے علی کے جگر لڑے ایک شور پڑ گیا کہ غضب شیر و نر لڑے ورثہ انہیں ملا ہے جناب امیر کا یہ زور سب ہے شیر کی یہ زور سب ہے شیر کی بیٹی یہ شیر کا زینب جو ننگے پاؤں کھڑی تھی قریب در عباس جا کے دیتے تھے یہ دم بدم خبر روئے ناب حضور مہم ہو چکی ہے سر لاکھوں سے لڑ رہے ہیں لاکھوں سے لڑ رہے ہیں غضب آپ کے سر زور آج پھر دکھا دیا زور آج پھر دکھا دیا خیبر کشائی کا اب تو انہی کے ہاتھ ہے اب تو انہی کے ہاتھ ہے میدان لڑائی کا آنسو بہا کے بنتے علی نے کہا کہ ہاں دے اور ہمت انہیں خلاق انس و جاں بچے کہاں ہزاروں کا وہ مار کا کہاں کچھ ہو انہیں فلک نے اور اس پہ مجھے اعتماد ہے. خالق وہ دے گے جو میرے دل کی مراد ہے. بھیا کچھ اپنے بیٹوں کا مجھ کو نہیں خیال. مر جائیں لڑکے یا کہ ہو ٹاپوں سے پائے مال. صدقے کروں 1000 جواں ایسے ہو نونہال. سب دولتیں لٹی پر سب دولتیں لٹی پر بچے فاطمہ کرا. اے بہن پہ وہ جو بلائیں پہ آئی ہو. دنیا میں کوئی ہو کہ نہ ہو, دنیا میں کوئی ہو کہ نہ ہو, میرا بھائی ہو. یہ ذکر تھا کہ بھائی کو حضرت نے دی صدا. عباس گر گئے زینب کے دل ربا. دوڑے صدائے سنتے ہی عباس با وفا. اسنائے راہ میں علی, اسنائے راہ میں علی, اکبر نے یہ کہا. زندہ رکھا فلک نے یہ آنسو بہانے کو. چلیے حضور جاتے ہیں, چلیے حضور جاتے ہیں لاشیں اٹھانے کو. پیاری بہن کے بیٹوں کا دیکھا جو شین حال. تن چاچا تھے گلسد برگ کی مثال. الجھے ہیں پیچ کھائے ہوئے گیسوں کے بال. اودے ہیں ہونٹ چاند سے, اودے ہیں ہونٹ چاند سے, چہرے لہو شرار. ماتھے ہیں شت سروں سے, امامے بھی دور ہیں. سب چھوٹی چھوٹی پسلیاں, سب چھوٹی چھوٹی پسلیاں تیغوں سے چور ہیں. چلائے گردنوں کے تلے ہاتھ اشار. منہ سے ملا منہ کے میرا حال ہے کلا. آنکھوں میں دم تھا بولتے کیوں کرو رش کے ماں. روتے تھے ناز دیکھ کے, روتے تھے ناز دیکھ کے. عباس عرش جا دنیا سے کوچ کرتے تھے. بچے پلے ہوئے ہاتھوں میں تھے حسین کے, ہاتھوں میں تھے حسین کے. من کے ڈھلے ہوئے ہاتھوں میں تھے حسین کے, من کے ڈھلے ہوئے. اللہ محمد وعلی محمد صلی اللہ علیہ
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, everyone. Now it's time for the lecture. Please, if I could ask you, request you to join me in extending a warm welcome to our dear brother, our dear Sheikh, Sayyid Heydar Jamaludeen.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
नाराए
रिसालत
या रसूलल्लाह,
नाराए हैदरी हैदरी बराए खुशनुदिए खानवादा इस्मत व तहारत बावाज़े बुलंद सलावत।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद।
बरहबीबे खुदा खतमुल अंबिया बावाज़े बुलंद सलावत।
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद।
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद।
The second salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
And the third salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد والثناء لله رب العالمين، باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، بارئ الخلائق أجمعين. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، سيدنا ونبينا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا، الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وسمي في الأراضين بأبي القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين المظلومين المستشهدين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من حين عداوتهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أما بعد، فقد قال السجاد عليه السلام: وأما حق اللسان فإكرامه عن الخنا وتعويضه الخير وترك الفضول التي لا فائدة لها، والبر بالناس وحسن القول فيهم. صلى الله على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I'd like to start off by saying it's lovely to see everyone again, especially those faces that I've seen over the last few nights, and those faces that I haven't seen. And the new faces, alhamdulillah, there are increasing new faces over the few nights. One of the things that has been mentioned in the Holy Quran is that we must protect ourselves from the sins that have been prescribed against in Islam. And we can do this by serving Abu Abdullah Hussein. If you work for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he will work for you. So, when we see that some people, they are doing khidmah for Abu Abdullah Hussein, we have to appreciate this, and we have to award those people. We have to, we have to tell them at least verbally what a great job they're doing. Be it from, sorting out the parking outside like by the Shakib, or, giving out the tea, giving the food. Every single little thing that you do for Abu Abdullah Hussein, every single thing, every single little reward will come back to you, and that will help you on your path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's great to see so many lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, helping out, reciting the Quran, be it from the little children, reciting the Marsiyah, reciting the Noha, reciting every single little thing that you recite for Abdullah or do for Abdullah has a thawab in the next world, and it will help you in this world and the next. So let us come together and recite a salawat for all of those who have come together to help and organize such a program with the loudest of your voices.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Once there was a great alim in Tehran, and he used to hold a majlis at his house every single Muharram, every single day of the first 10 days. And in that majlis, one night, two men came, and they were mocking. I think I mentioned this at one of our Friday prayers together. They started to mock the the recitation, they started to mock, what was going on. Started to, mock the people reciting, and they mocked them and all of that. And eventually they realized, okay, we're not going to get any khana out of this. We're not going to get any tabarruk, so let's go home. On the way out, they see there are 2 teacups on the floor. So they think, okay, it's a shame if the teacups are going to get broken. They pick up the teacups and they put them on the side. The next day, the alim, he was really upset by the conduct of these people. So the next day, when they came and he saw that they were crying to the loudest of their voices inside the majlis, he was taken aback. He said, these lot, they were joking around and laughing yesterday. What happened now? They've just had a complete change of character. So he tells them, I'm not going to let you leave until you tell me what happened. And they're trying to dodge the question. They're just saying, just leave it. Eventually, he asks, they say, okay, fine, I'll let you know. So one of them, he says, I had a dream last night when I came back home that I saw Abu Abdullah alayhi salam in a courtyard. There was a fountain and he was sitting near the fountain. And he was telling his scribe, and his scribe was Abul Fadl Abbas, to write down the name of everyone who had helped in the majlis. And that they were going to get the shafa'ah of Imam Hussein. So he was right. So he said, okay, write the name of the speaker, write the name of the Noha reciter, write the name of the Marsi reciter, for example, write the name of the tea, the person who gave the tea, write the name of all of them. And then at the end of it, he said, have you written everyone? He asked Hazrat Abbas, have you written everyone? And he says, yes. He said, have you written the name of those 2 boys? So why would I write the name of those 2 boys? They came just to take the mick. They came just to mock. He said, no, they protected a belonging of my rosa to that extent. They protected the belongings of my rosa. They protected the teacups to make sure they wouldn't be broken. So this boy, he wakes up crying, and he sees that his friend has also woken up crying as well. And he asks, what happened? Why are you crying? And he mentions that they had exactly the same dream at the same time. And this was enough to change them in 1 second. So don't think that the actions you perform are something, little. Whatever little you do for Abu Abdullah, he will give back to you tenfold. Abu Abdullah is a manifestation of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to remember that. Whatever we do for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we walk towards Allah, Allah will run towards us. So the same goes for Abu Abdullah, but of course at a lower extent. Whatever we do for Allah, he will do tenfold. So we have to remember this with the lamas of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
So over the last few nights we've been talking about izzah, we've been talking about dignity and how a Shia must be dignified. We've been talking about Barak, we talked about the extreme level of taqwa, and we mentioned that in order to reach that level of taqwa, we must get towards at least have taqwa in the first place. We can't run before walking. And we mentioned over yesterday that we must have taqwa of our ears. We must make sure that what enters our ears is something that is beneficial, something that isn't haram, made by haram by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We mentioned that even to an extent that our nohas and our nasheeds are sometimes haram, yet we don't understand it, we don't realize. The music within it is haram. We mentioned that sometimes the nohas are adapted. Not that these nohas, they're adapted from songs, for example. Not that these nohas are haram within themselves, because it's only the tune. But the fact is that it could push towards, it could lead towards you going towards listening to that song itself. So, this was one of the rights of our ears. The rights of our ears is that we do not put within it what does not deserve, what is not deserving of it. What else is not deserving of our ears, brothers and sisters, is that we do not listen to people, we do not gain knowledge from people who are not deserving of being listened to. There's an ayah in Surah Al-Munafiqun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا رَأَيْتَهُمْ أعوذ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وَإِذَا رَأَيْتَهُمْ تُعْجِبُكَ أَجْسَامَهُمْ وَإِنْ يَقُولُوا تَسْمَعْ لِقَوْلِهِمْ كَأَنَّهُمْ خَشَبٌ مُسَنَّدَةٍ يَحْسِبُونَ كُلَّ صِيحَةٍ عَلَيْهِمْ هُمُ الْعَدُوُّ فَاحْذُرْهُمْ قَاتَلَهُمُ اللَّهُ أَنَّى يُؤْفَكُونَ. He says, and when you see them, their appearances please you. And many people, they look good, And if they speak, you listen to their impressive speech. The way they speak is good. You know, you listen to them and the way they speak is wow. You know, powerful. They command. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about these people? They are as worthless as hollow pieces of wood propped up. Thinking that every single word that somebody says is about them. Whenever somebody says something, they're like, wait, is he talking about me? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues, they are the enemy, so beware of them. May Allah curse them how they are deluded from the truth. Before any of you get any ideas, I'm not speaking about anybody specific. I'm just speaking about the criterion of somebody who we should not listen to and we should not gain knowledge from them. So we mustn't lend our time to every speaker. We mustn't give them the time of day. We have to look at them and wonder, is this person deserving of being the representative of Rasulullah? Is this person deserving of me, giving my time and lending my ear to him? So what are the criterion of a good speaker? As we mentioned, the brothers of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wa are those who have implemented the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the words of Rasulullah in a time where he was not present. Correct? And who are those that we mentioned several times? The ulama and the shuhada. The ones who reach that stage of elite perfection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that, according to the words of the Holy Prophet, according to some narrations, is that the ink of that scholar is greater than the blood of a martyr. Yeah, we see some scholars or some supposed scholars going on the pulpit and speaking against these ulama, or speaking against what they're telling you to do, against their advice. For example, we see many people there, on the pulpit. What do our marajah say about our brothers of Ahl Sunnah? They say not to abuse their lofty characters, however we may consider them. They are the mother of the believers according to the Quran. Correct? It says in the Quran, the wives of the Prophet are the mothers of the believers. Our ulama, our marajah, they say not to curse these people, they say not to insult these people. What do we have? We have Ayatollah Sistani, may Allah protect him. Please recite salawat for his safety.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
He says these people are not our brothers, rather they are our own selves. We're all a single ummah. What's the need for division? What's the need for, separating ourselves? وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Cling to the firm rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and hold firm. What more do we see? We see some ulama there spending their Ramadans, their Muharrams, going clearly after the Ahl Sunnah, trying to cause division, being disrespectful, being inflammatory with the Ahl Sunnah. Clearly in a contrary way to what our marajah are saying, the representatives of the prophets. Al-ulama ghurrathul anbiya. After all it says, right? The ulama are the successors, are the inheritors, the heirs of the prophets. So these people that we see, this marajah, they're not some, Tom, Dick and Harry. They're somebody who has actually studied and has become the representative of the Prophet. Yet they're going completely against it. And for what reason? Just, we have to be careful of these people, brothers and sisters. What do our marajah say about Palestine? The issue of Palestine. The marajah say, it's a great tragedy what's going on in Palestine. What are we seeing? Over almost 40,000 people killed. According to new reports, some are even saying 108,000 killed. Not even counting the ones that are trapped under debris. Our marajah have condemned this. On multiple times, Sayyid Sistani, may Allah protect him, has mentioned this as well. When the Pope came to meet him in Najaf, is one of the main things he mentioned. The issue of Palestine. Yeah, what do we have? We have some ulama, some supposed ulama, who claim to be ulama, yet they do not even mention a word of Palestine for 9 months. Yet suddenly we see that all they say about Palestine is, let's not compare it to Karbala. First of all, no one compared Gaza to Karbala. Karbala is a tragedy unlike anything else. وَجَلَّتْ وَعَظْمَتِ الرَّزِيَّةُ. How great a calamity is that it made even the angels of the heavens sorrowful. This is the wali of Allah who is being murdered, being martyred all alone. Never have we compared Gaza to Karbala. Here what we say is we can see Karbala within Gaza. A father carrying his son in a bag because he cannot collect his body parts properly. A hand there, a leg there. What does this remind you of? Does it remind you of anything other than Karbala? How can you say you cannot compare Gaza to Karbala? No one's comparing Gaza to Karbala. We're saying that we see Karbala in Gaza. A father mourning his son, a son mourning his father, a brother mourning his brother, a sister mourning her mother, a mother mourning her daughter. How can you be so callous to say such a thing? That this is the only thing you say, and you say it so pompously on the pulpit. How can you say that? Our Maraji al-Idham are saying so, are saying one thing, yet you're going completely the opposite. You're causing division in the Ummah of Rasulullah. You're making people go against Ahlul Sunnah at a time when Ahlul Sunnah are being murdered. Rightfully they're being murdered on the right side of history. As Ayatollah Khamenei says when he wrote a letter to the people of America who were doing the encampments in their universities. He said, you are on the right side of history. These are our Maraji who are saying this, okay? It's not me. Who am I? You're on the right side of history. So how can you go ahead and say, yeah, no, Gaza is not comparable to Karbala? I'm not comparing. I'm not comparing whatsoever. But how can you be so callous to say such a thing so heartlessly? We seek refuge in Allah. Then we also see, what do we see? That they speak about the Maraji as if they are nothing. You have to be careful, brothers and sisters. Whenever you see somebody accusing a Marja of saying something which he hasn't said, or you see that they are being disrespectful to the Maraji, know that this person isn't your well-wisher. He's not somebody who is, a good person to listen to. Why should you listen to somebody who is abusing somebody who is much greater than he is? Our Maraji, they spent 80 years studying. And you so carelessly go up on the pulpit and say, yeah, he said so and so and so. Why should we listen to him? What is this? People who are much greater than you, yet you're so callous about it. Again, we seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
है हमारी दरसगाह करबला करबला है हमारी दरसगाह करबला करबला हक का सीधा रास्ता करबला करबला हक का सीधा रास्ता करबला करबला बराए सेहत व सलामती उलमाए हक बावाज़े बुलंद सलावत अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद व आले मुहम्मद.
Another criteria, brothers and sisters, is that we look at them and we see sincerity. We see the actual desire to go out and help the community. When we look at them, we don't think, oh, you know what, he's come to do a speech and he's going to leave after, 20 minutes or 45 minutes. He's not going to care about the community whatsoever. He's just going to come speak and know he's done a great thing. No, he hasn't done a great thing. The real propagation of Islam doesn't come from the pulpit. The real propagation comes with the people. You sit with the people, you are a man of the people as a scholar. When you see a person who acts as if he is greater than you and he is telling you what to do, this isn't a scholar. This isn't a learned person. A learned person, the first thing he learns is to break himself. He learns that he is nothing and he's the servant of the people, not the lord of the people. Sitting on the pulpit pompously and pretending as if he's greater than the people below him. There's a hadith from Amir al-Mu'mineen, he narrates from Prophet Isa alayhi salam. He says, الدينار داء الدين والعالم طبيب الدين فإذا رأيتم الطبيب يجر الداء إلى نفسه فاتهموه واعلموا أنه غير ناصح لغيره. He says, money is the disease of religion and the scholar is the physician of religion. So on one hand we have money and on one hand we have the scholar. They are not compatible with each other. Whenever you see the doctor attracting the disease towards himself, whenever you see that, for example, for Muharram he's asking for £10,000, or to do one speech he's asking for £5,000, what does it say? Accuse him. Nabi Isa is saying, accuse that person. And know, وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّهُ غَيْرُ نَاصِحٍ لِغَيْرِهِ. Know that he is not a well-wisher for you. He doesn't want the best interest for you. All he wants to do is come and say a few fazail of Imam Ali, get a few nare Heydris, get his pay packet and then leave. Be very careful, brothers and sisters, of who you listen to. According to Shaheed Mutahari, may Allah's peace and blessings be upon him, the knowledge that you learn in the hawza, the knowledge that you learn should not be a means for you to gain money. It shouldn't be a source of income for you. It might sound surprising to you, but Allama Mujtahidi, one of the great ulama of akhlaq of Tehran, when he would speak to his students, he would say, don't use this for money. If you want to do so, if you want to get money, he said, go and work in the bazaar, go and work in the marketplace, go to university. The reason why is because then at least you'll have your dunya and your akhirah. But if you come here looking for your money, you're going to have neither the dunya or the akhirah. Or maybe you might have the dunya, you might have a good life, feasting off the people's love for the Ahlul Bayt. But you're not going to have a good time in the next world. He mentions that being an alim is the only... He even says that, he even goes to the extent where, perhaps some may not agree with this. He goes to the extent that the talaba, or the student of the hawza, or the alim, mustn't even work. He must invest all of his efforts into the ilm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he is in the only job in where he is in the employ of Imam al-Zaman, Ajal ta'ala Farajah Sharif.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
The only job where he is employed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah will sustain him. Because he has dedicated his life for Allah, Allah will dedicate his rizq for him. So, to back up this claim of mine that we shouldn't, make the Ahlul Bayt a means of income, there is a hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. He says, he mentions three kinds of people. I've only brought one kind that he mentions. He mentions three kinds of Shia. First of all, he mentions, فِرْقَةٌ أَحَبُّونَا وَسَمِعُوا كَلَامَنَا وَلَمْ يُقَصِّرُوا عَنْ فِعْلِنَا لِيَسْتَأْكِلُوا النَّاسَ بِنَا فَيَمْلَأُ اللَّهُ بُطُونَهُمْ نَارًا يُسَلِّطْ عَلَيْهِمُ الْجُوعَ وَالْعَطَشِ. There is a group among our Shia who love us. They listen to our words. They do not fall short in following what we tell them to do. But they do so to earn the people's donations through us, the Ahlul Bayt. They put on a face. They put on a persona in order to look nice just so that they can get that pay packet at the end of the day. What does Allah say? What does Imam Sadiq alayhi salam say? He's very harsh in his words. He says, Allah will fill their stomachs with fire. And He will afflict them with hunger and thirst. Don't think that this is some sort of actual, worldly thing. This is a spiritual thing. Your spiritual stomach will be filled with fire. What does it mean? Imam Hussein alayhi salam on the day of Ashura, what does he say when he asks the people, do you not know who I am? They say, we know who you are, but we do not care. He says, because you have filled your bellies with haram. This money that you earn, that you're earning off the Ahlul Bayt is haram. You are not allowed to take this. Where has it ever said in religion that you're allowed to earn money of the Ahlul Bayt? It says it clearly in the hadith of Imam Sadiq that you're not allowed to earn money of the Ahlul Bayt. So be careful, brothers and sisters, that we do not listen to certain people who are not well-wishers for us. we have to ensure that the person is sincere. You know, I heard a story one time that a brother, he went to a mosque in England, I won't mention where. He went to a mosque in England and he saw that the alim, he was leading Salatul Jama'ah. And after Salatul Jama'ah, what does he see? He sees the alim, very beautiful, it's such a nice scene. He's sitting after Salatul Jama'ah and he's speaking with all of the youths. He's sitting with the youth and, you know, they're all speaking, asking him questions. But suddenly, in the middle of one of the questions that one of the kids was asking, Malana Sahib looks at his watch. He's like, oh, okay, gets up, walks right out in the middle of the question. Why is that? Because in his contract it was stipulated that he had to stay half an hour after namaz. It's a lack of sincerity, brothers and sisters. You're not doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're doing it for the sake of money. So we have to be very careful that every single action of ours is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's say loudest of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum.
Nare Haydari.
Ya Ali.
We have to be careful, brothers and sisters, that the people we listen to are proper people. The lecturers we listen to are learned individuals. The lecturers we listen to are not just learned individuals, but they're people who have put their information, their knowledge into action. It's very important. Amanu wa amilu salihat. They know, we use iman as know, for example, and they act upon that. I believe it was Rasulullah or Imam Baqir alayhi salam who mentioned, "Man amila bima ya'lam, allamahu Allahu ma la ya'lam." Whoever acts upon what he knows, Allah will teach him what he doesn't know. So whatever knowledge we have, you know, I guess this can be our practical step for today. Whatever knowledge we have, whatever hadith we come across, let's try and act upon it, and let's try and implement it in our lives. Because I believe I did mention, oh no, that was in one of the Friday prayers, sorry. That even if there is a hadith, that even if a hadith comes to you, if a hadith comes to you that says Rasulullah told you to do so and so and so, and you act upon that hadith, Allah will give you the reward for that action, even if it hadn't come from Rasulullah. So I don't know, somebody comes to you and says, oh, you know, Rasulullah said that it's mustahab for you to, you know, eat with your right hand, for example. Which of course we do know it's mustahab, right? But even if it wasn't true that that person told you, and that person was a trustworthy person, of course, even if it wasn't true, Allah would still give you the reward for it because you were trying to act upon the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You were trying to act upon the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I wanted to move on now. Sorry for the long diversion. It was just some things that had been stuck in the heart for a little bit. And inshallah, let's get back to our topic with the loudest of salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil.
So as we were talking about the taqwa, we mentioned the taqwa of the air, and you know, to an extent we discussed what it means to have taqwa of the air. Now let's move on to the taqwa of the tongue. We see that in the ahadith there are over 30 different sins mentioned that can be performed with the tongue. Over 30 different sins. Now, if we go into some of them, we can see there are lying, backbiting, slandering others, doing tuhma, you know, being munafiq, giving praise to somebody who isn't worthy of it, speaking in bad language, you know, singing, joking too much, mocking others, revealing other people's secrets, brothers and sisters. It's a big sin. And breaking promises, to name some. These are all sins, brothers and sisters. They're not, you know, oh, it's bad for me to do it, it's haram. You're not allowed to, you know, reveal somebody else's secret. You're not allowed to make a promise with somebody and then break it. It's haram. We have to understand that the tongue that we have is like a knife. Right? A knife in the hand of a caring mother will cook a lovely meal. In the hand of a serial killer, it will kill many people. So the tongue is exactly the same. The tongue is a weapon that can be used as a tool for good and a tool for evil. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he mentions in the Risad al-Huquq, he says, as for the right of the tongue, It is to honor it by avoiding obscenity. Do not speak what is not right to be spoken. To accustom it to goodness. To refrain from unnecessary talk that has no benefit. So sometimes we just talk for the sake of talking. If you, like there's a saying, right? If you have nothing good to say, don't say it. Right? To be kind with people with that tongue and to speak well of them. There's a hadith, it mentions, إِنَّ لِسَانِ ابْنِ آدَمْ يُشْرِفُ كُلُّ يَوْمٍ عَلَى جَوَارِحِهِ فَيَقُولُ كَيْفَ أَصْبَحْتُمْ. The tongue of the son of Adam, the tongue of the human, it addresses the limbs of that body every single day. It addresses the body every day. It talks to the body. What does it say? It says, كَيْفَ أَصْبَحْتُمْ. How are you this morning? How did you wake up? And they say, فَيَقُولُونَ بِخَيْرٍ إِن تَرَكْتَنَا. We'll be fine if you just leave us alone. And they say, وَيَقُولُونَ اللَّهَ اللَّهَ فِينَا. Fear Allah concerning us. And they say, وَيَقُولُونَ إِنَّمَا نُثَابُ بِكَ وَنُعَاقَبُ بِكَ. Verily, we're rewarded, either we're rewarded or we're punished because of you. Because of the tongue. That's the importance of the tongue in Islam. It's a tool that can be used for good or a tool that can be used for bad. Now, why is it so important? The reason it is so important is because this tongue is our device that we can interact with others. It's what we use to talk to others. Right? It's what we could use to bring others towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But on the other hand, it's what we could use to talk to bring others away from Islam. And sometimes we think we're bringing others towards Islam, but actually what we're doing is pushing people further away. You know? There's a story of a man in the early days of Islam that he would go to the masjid, that he was a Christian who became Muslim because of his friend. And his friend knocked on his door in the middle of the night. He said, come, let's go to the mosque. Let's pray Salatul Layl. He said, okay, let's go pray Salatul Layl. And as he was about to leave after praying Salatul Layl, he said, where are you going? He said, let's pray Fajr. He said, fine, okay, let's pray Fajr together. Then he continues, okay, I'm going to go home now. He said, no, let's do some Salah until Asr, until Dhuhr. He said, okay, fine, let's continue the Dhuhr. After Dhuhr, he goes home. His friend knocks again, okay, let's go for Asr. They go for Asr to the masjid. Okay? He's about to go home again. No, let's do some du'as until Maghrib. Maghrib comes around. Let's do some du'as until Isha. Okay, let's do Isha. And at that time he's like, look, I'm going to go home, I'm a bit tired, I'm going to rest and come back. So the ex-Christian man, he goes home, and suddenly his friend knocks on the door at midnight again, Salatul Layl. He says, yeah, I'm Christian, thank you. You know? This is the way that we can push people away when we demand too much, brothers and sisters. Step by step. Step by step. For ourselves as well first. You know? Don't push yourself into reading 11 rak'ah of Salat al-Layl before you can hardly pray on time. You know? Or even if you are praying on time, don't push yourself straight into the 11 rak'ah. You know, you can go slow as well. You know? There's the 8 rak'ah of nawafil, and there's the 2 shaf, and there's the 1 witr. No, begin with the witr, and then if you're happy with the witr, then add the shaf. If you're happy with the shaf, then add 2 rak'ah of the nawafil, and slowly you can add it on. Or for example, don't push yourself into fasting every single day. You know, maybe train yourself. You know, one Wednesday here, one Thursday there, one Wednesday there. There's no need to rush into it. So it's important that we use this tongue for the best way possible. In that, we make sure that when we're talking to others, we do not push them away from Islam, we do not bring them closer to shaitan, and we make sure that we use it only for the right of good. And there's a hadith from Rasulullah, he mentions, sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, he mentions, أَنَا زَعِيمٌ بِبَيْتٍ فِي رَبَضِ الْجَنَّةِ وبيت في وسط الجنة وبيت في أعلى الجنة لمن ترك المراء وإن كان محقا ولمن ترك الكذب وإن كان هازلا ولمن حسن خلقه. He says, I guarantee a house on the outskirts of paradise and a house in the middle of paradise, and a house in the highest part of paradise. For a person who does three things. Or maybe we could even say for a person who does one of three things. The first one is somebody who abandons arguing even if he is right. Now, we've all seen the generation of speakers corner, right? Arguing, even though we know the person's not gonna accept the truth. What's the need? What's the need? If you see that the person's not going to accept it, just leave it. Your speaking has now become useless because you're just speaking at a wall. You know, the truth is before the person. He can see that the Ahlul Bayt is the right way. So, if he can see that, then why are you still trying? He already knows the truth. He just wants to be stubborn. I believe it was Amir al-Mu'mineen sallallahu alaihi wasallam who says, make your argument 3 times, and if they do not accept it after the 3rd time, just leave them. There's no need. So this is the first kind of person who will receive those 3 houses in heaven. That he abandons arguing even though he knows what's right. He knows he was right, but he's like, you know what, fine. I can't be asked with you, for example. The second one, brothers and sisters, is very important. That happens very, very much. It says, "Man taraka al-kidhb wa in kana hazilan." The person who abandons lying, even if it's a joke. Lying is not allowed even in a joke, brothers and sisters. You know, there's a time that a woman came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
She comes to the Holy Prophet and she says, Ya Rasulullah, are old women going to be allowed into heaven? So Rasulullah, he looks at her and he says, no, women are not allowed into heaven. So this woman, she starts to cry and she leaves the presence of Rasulullah. And Rasulullah, he manages to catch up with her somehow and he says, the reason I said that there will be no old women in heaven is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make you all young. So we see that even in a joke, Rasulullah would not even lie. Would not even lie. And what's the reason for it being so important, brothers and sisters, that we do not joke? We do not joke in a lie. We do not lie in a joke, sorry. Lie in a joke, joke in a lie. Lie in a joke. The reason is, he says, Imam Sajjad says, he says, اتقوا الكذب الصغير منه والكبير. Beware of lying, whether in small or significant matters, in seriousness or jest. When a person lies in small matters, they're going to become bold in lying in big matters. It all builds up. Just like how we said we have to build ourselves up in good, we can end up building ourselves up in bad as well. We can end up accidentally saying, you know, okay, I have this wrong thing that I'm doing. It's not that bad, and we start to excuse it until it becomes something big. I'm getting the looks for the time, so. Inshallah. The third thing he mentions is good character, which I was looking to delve into more, but inshallah we can discuss that more tomorrow, inshallah. The main thing is, brothers and sisters, that we are kind to all ages. We have that benevolence towards all different kinds and walks of age. When he's with Imam Hassan and Imam al-Hussein, we see that he's kind with them at all times, making sure that they're fine. And we can see that from this we understand that there's a proper upbringing of those children within the Ahlul Bayt. They're brought up well. Rasulullah knows how to bring up the children. Ali ibn Abi Talib knows how to bring up the children. Imam al-Hassan knows how to bring up his children so that they lay down their lives for Hussein on the day of judgment, on the day of Ashura. Who is the son of Imam al-Hassan who died in Ashura? Qasim, right? The one we all know. Who's the ones we don't know? Abu Bakr ibn Hassan was made shaheed on the day of Ashura. Abu Bakr is just a kunya, by the way. It's not his real name, it's the name he was known by. It means the father of Bakr, which means he had a son named Bakr. for those who believe that, the Imam named their sons after the Khulafa. This isn't true, it's just a title. Abu Bakr ibn Hassan, or, inshallah, the one we're going to discuss tonight, Abdullah ibn Hassan, the son of Abu Muhammad, Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam, who was made shaheed in Karbala. How old was he? 11 years old, younger than Qasim. A prepubescent boy, they say. He wasn't even reaching the age of puberty. He wasn't even baligh. Raised in the household of Imam al-Hussein. He was brought up without a father because he was born the same year that Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam was poisoned and he spat out his liver, attaining the lofty status of Shahada. And what else do we see? He's 11 years old. So therefore, who does he see as his father figure? Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. He's brought up in a way by the Ahlul Bayt. Say it takes a village to raise a child, right? He's brought up by the Ahlul Bayt to وموضع الرسالة ومختلف الملائكة وخزان العلم ومنتهى الحلم. Brothers and sisters, take yourselves to the plains of Karbala. Imagine yourself before the Darih of Abu Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Abdullah. Sallallahu alayka ya Madlum. أيها الشهيد بأرض كربلاء عطشانا. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon you, Ya Abu Abdullah. O my oppressed Imam, the Imam was slaughtered with thirsty lips by the shores of the Quran. Brothers and sisters, picture the scene. Abu Abdullah has fallen from his horse. He is laying on the planks. He looks to his left, he looks to his right. Abbas is gone, Ali al-Akbar has gone. There's no one left to help him. Imam al-Sajjad tries to leave the tent, he can't. Sallallahu alayhi ya Madloom. He's ready to breathe his last. But Ya Abu Abdullah, there's one more trial for you to endure. As he is laying there on the plains, he sees from the tent a young boy running out. What does he say to Zainab? He says, Zainab, hold him back. Abdullah ibn al-Hassan, an 11-year-old boy, he rushes from his aunt's grasp. He cries out, Wallahi, la ufariq anni. I will not be separated from my uncle by Allah. He rushes to Abu Abdullah. The mal'oon, he raises his sword. strike Abu Abdullah. He rushes forth, Abdullah, he jumps in front of Abu Abdullah. He cries out, Ya ibn al-Khabitha, taqtul ammi. O son of the cursed woman, will you kill my uncle? Ya Abu Abdullah, I'm still here for you. You are not all alone. He raises his arm to shield the blow. At that moment, the Mal'oon brings down his sword and strikes Abdullah on the arm. ثم قاتل say that the arm of Abdullah was struck by the sword, hanging off by only a string of skin. He falls onto the chest of Abu Abdullah. Abu Abdullah holds him tight. He says, oh my nephew, have patience. At that moment, the accursed man, Harmala ibn Kahil, he raises his arrow. He aims his bow towards the neck of Abdullah. He fires, وَيُذْبَحُ الطِّيرُ. Brothers and sisters, this phrase of dhib has only been used for 3 people in the land of Karbala. Dhib means to behead. One was Ali al-Asghar. One was Abu Abdullah al-Husayn. And one was this young boy. How vicious the enemy. أما لا يوم كيومك يا أبا عبد الله. لا يوم كيومك يا أبا عبد الله. At least Abdullah had you. At least Ali al-Asghar's last sight was your face. But we can only think of the time when Shim climbed onto the chest of Abu Abdullah. Abdullah must have been on the chest of Abu Abdullah. One can only imagine how he must have treated the body of Abdullah. He climbed on to the chest of Abu Abdullah. Zainab is watching on. والشمر جالس على صدرك. Shimr is sitting on your chest. مولغا سيفه على نحرك. Running his blade across your neck. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين والحمد لله رب العالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون صلوا على محمد وآل محمد واتم القسام
فاطمة حسين يا 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 حسين कास अलम तेरा जो लोग उठाएंगे گے زہرا کی دعاؤں کے زہرا کی دعاؤں کے سائے میں وہ آئیں گے عباس علم تیرا جو لوگ اٹھائیں گے عباس علم تیرا جو لوگ اٹھائیں گے زینب کی تمنا ہے خواہش ہے سکینہ کی زینب کی تمنا ہے خواہش ہے سکینہ کی ہر گھر میں علم تیرا ہر گھر میں علم تیرا ہم لوگ سجائیں گے شکل علی غازی میرا قائم رہے اس کی وفا عباس علم تیرا جو لوگ اٹھائیں گے عباس علم تیرا جو لوگ اٹھائیں گے زہرا کی دعاؤں کے زہرا کی دعاؤں کے سائے میں وہ آئیں گے عباس علم تیرا جو لوگ اٹھائیں گے عباس علم تیرا جو لوگ اٹھائیں گے خوش ہوگا میرا غازی سرور بھی دعا دیں گے خوش ہوگا میرا غازی سرور بھی دعا دیں گے پانی پہ سکینہ کی پانی پہ سکینہ کی ہم نظر دلائیں گے شکل علی غازی میرا قائم رہے اس کی وفا عباس علم تیرا جو لوگ اٹھائیں گے عباس علم تیرا جو لوگ اٹھائیں گے زہرا کی دعاؤں کے زہرا کی دعاؤں کے سائے میں وہ آئیں گے عباس علم تیرا جو لوگ اٹھائیں گے عابد بیمار تھا کہ عابد بیمار تھا چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا اور شام کا بازار تھا اور شام کا بازار تھا اور مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیاں مولا امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا امام یا حسن یا حسین امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی سینے پہ جو شاخے پلی سینے پہ جو شاخے پلی جس کی ابابن میں جلی جس کی ابابن میں جلی منہ پہ تماچو مولا امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین صلی اللہ محمد لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله